You are listening to the Just Between Us Women podcast, hosted by Leah Brueggemann and Katherine Johnson.
We are bringing you conversations about topics you might feel strongly about but are too afraid to begin. How we navigate entrepreneurship as a wife and a mom without losing ourselves in either identity. We want to open the conversation on how we continue to grow in our faith while pursuing our passions. How strong communities of women help us to grow personally and ways to foster them. And taboo subjects no one wants to bring up.
Don't need to be a business owner, a wife, or a mom to come join us. All you have to have is a desire for discussions that scratch deeper than the surface. So, of course, we talked about dating your spouse and how important that is, and they don't have to be expensive. So we thought that we would pull together a bunch of different date nights that are either extremely low cost or are completely free, because dating your spouse doesn't mean you always have to go to a fancy restaurant. You know, sometimes it's just putting aside that dedicated time to focus on each other. So we thought we would give you some ideas, and just be warned, it may or may not get really spicy. So maybe this is not one you want to listen to with your kids. So I'm giving you your full warning ahead of time. Okay, so we're going to start with some cheap date nights. Not cheap as in low quality, cheap as in low cost. I feel like that's important.
Yes.
Okay, these are two of my favorites, except for I hate wine, so I would come up with something else. But
oh gosh, I love wine. What is wrong with you?
I know. Wine and dinner on the porch after the kiddos are in bed. I'm just not really that big into alcohol because I don't even know, you guys. My only excuse is that, like, as a singer, I can't, alcohol dries out your vocal cords. You can't drink within 48 hours of doing any sort of performance. And I got into that habit, and it doesn't even taste good to me. It's not because I'm like this, person that just is like, oh, wine's not good for you. I just don't like it. But I like, make me a white Russian and I'll be your best friend. So
I do like white Russians.
I know, those are good.
Yeah, but I do love wine.
Wine's more classy, so there you go.
It looks fancier.
Yeah, and if you don't have a porch, you guys, you can just do the dinner table. Light some candles, like, you could even put on a nice outfit, like you were going out.
Right, you can act like it's the same, like you're going out, but to make it less expensive, just have it at home.
Yeah.
So you can still, get fancy.
Exactly.
Dinner by candlelight, super romantic.
Yeah, turn on some music. And even if, like, for example, you did want to go out and you did want to spend some money, but you couldn't get a babysitter, you guys take out. Like, you can get takeout pretty much from any of your nice restaurant and, set it up at home.
Especially nowadays, everywhere has takeout now. So
Of course. And then one of my other top favorites is making a dessert together. This has just become a tradition with Seb and I, and I'm sure you guys can all find your own, but ours is tiramisu always, because we had tiramisu, I think, when we went out for my birthday one year, before we got married, and then it just kind of became a thing. Like, we would try and get tiramisu for every birthday, and we had it on our honeymoon, and then now we just make it together whenever you want to have, like, a fun date night, which honestly, I make it sound like we make tiramisu a lot, but we maybe make it twice a year. But it's really fun.
Yeah, that is fun. I've never done that. That would be really fun.
It's a
like
process.
Making a dessert together. Yeah.
But it is fun. Yeah.
That is cool. I like that a lot.
But yeah. So what are some of your ideas?
So, I really like making dinner together. We do dinner sometimes. Like Brendan, I do not grill at all. Like,
me either.
Don't know how. I've tried it once and it was horrible. So those are really fun nights when, like, Brendan will grill whatever meat, and then, like, I'll help him prep the meat, or we'll, like, do the veggies or the sides together, whatever. Like, that's always really fun. We'll have drinks as we cook, and it's just fun. Listen to music, whatever. And then, it doesn't have to be that even in itself doesn't necessarily have to mean that leads into like a fancy dinner at home.
Yeah.
It's a fun way to spend time together and do something together.
Yeah.
So that's one I like to do. That's always fun. Sometimes we will like, yeah, just like listen to music together. And like Brendan is not a dancer. Like he's like, I can't dance. But so we don't usually like dance, but he might be goofy and I might be goofy or whatever together. And like just listening to music, I don't know, or like we'll share music that like each of us like. And we don't have a playlist together, but we just share songs sometimes. Like, usually he makes fun of my choices, but it's fine.
Yeah. I will have to agree with that. I feel like we have difference in musical opinions. So, that would be a good one too, because I really like planning out to go on a walk together. And
oh yeah,
it's so easy to talk about your kids. You go on a walk and you're just like, oh my gosh, so Landon did this and Landon did this. And Seb's like, this is what happened at work. And I'm like, this is what happened with work and the house. And so you go on a walk and you make a commitment to not talk about any of those things. So you have a list of like 10 questions to ask each other. So hopefully it will dive deeper into some other conversations because I'm a sucker for some deep conversation.
Yes.
Always.
That's a really good idea because it is so easy to be like, how was your day? How was your day? Work was like this.
Yes.
Yeah. Seth was like this. My mom called, like whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Another thing that I really like to do is Brendan has like a really long schedule, and like a lot of the times he'll either pack himself lunch or I'll like pack him lunch and he brings lunch. But like sometimes I will go and like bring him lunch, and Seth loves that. And I love that. Like it is so cute. I'll be like, okay, we're going to go bring daddy food at work. And he gets so excited and he just like loves it so much. So Brendan can't necessarily like take a long lunch break and like sit with us. Sometimes he can, and we'll just like sit in the car and eat like together. And that's nice. But even just like I'll drop it off and he comes out and gets it, and he'll just like say hi and be like, hey, hope like your day is going well or whatever, and like give you a kiss, and there you go. Like, I don't know. That's even fun. Like it breaks up the day a little bit, and that's always like not a normal thing to see him during the work day. So that's kind of fun.
I agree. And it's really hard to do with kiddos, but I used to do that before we had Landon, and I can't do it right now because of where Seb is working, but it's so fun to do, or even bringing them coffee. That's one of my favorite things to do, and Seb will do that randomly. It's not even like date night, but it's just like surprise, like fun thing. He'll bring coffee like in the morning or something. And I think that those are just like super, again, it's the little things. Like
it totally is.
One of our biggest things is note cards, like leaving note cards for the other person to find, like wherever. So like Seb will know if I have something big coming up, he will, typically leave a note card. You've got this, like you're going to kill it. Or if he has something going on with school, or, I know he had a rough day at work, like, leave a note card because, sometimes I'm sleeping when he gets home, like leave it on the table. I just think those are like, literally it's free. You pull out the note card and you write on it.
That's really sweet.
It means so much to the other person, and just to know that they were thinking of you and, rooting for you.
Yeah.
But
we don't do note cards, but I touched on this on the last episode. We'll like do little texts. So our version of note cards is like little texts throughout the day.
Yeah.
Which is, I love that idea though. I should do that. Like just leave little random actual I have done that, I guess, a couple times. Like I will put it in his truck on the steering wheel for him to find in the morning or whatever. Like that's fun. I haven't done that in a very long time, but I should get back into that. I'm gonna do that now.
No, it's really, really fun. Okay, so what were some other ones that we had? Oh, do we want to get spicy yet, or do we want to like leave that for the end?
We can get spicy. It's fine.
Okay. Let's do it. So, something that I think is Seb started this actually. And I know you guys said you did it too, which
Mm-hmm.
small world. I think is so important, is to do a check-in once a month or once every couple months. You can do it in
Mm-hmm.
person, you can write them a letter,
Mm-hmm.
but we have a series of questions that you want to ask the other person to check in with. And I'll start off and we can just kind of go back and forth. But
Yeah.
one that's so simple is, are you happy?
Yeah.
And
That's a loaded question though.
it really is.
Yeah.
But, I think it's a good time to just check in. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
anxiety? Like, if you are postpartum, like, let's check in.
Mm-hmm.
The husband needs to be a part of that journey as well. And I think, like, yes, you don't have to always be sunshine and roses and butterflies and unicorns, but like it's important to, be happy at your core
Mm-hmm.
and check in with your spouse on that one. So,
Yeah. And that usually peels back a lot of layers of like, well, I am overall happy, but this one little thing was bothering me and I didn't think of it till now.
yeah.
Like sometimes that comes up and you're like, oh, okay, I guess that was bothering me. I didn't think of it till you actually asked me.
Yeah. I think, well, and that goes kind of into the next one of what could I do to make your day easier? And
Yeah.
when you do want them to do something or maybe stopped doing something, you do have to be very careful with your phrasing. You don't want to be
Yeah.
like, so I hate when you do this because it ruins my day. Um, just think about how you want to phrase that. And I think it's really important to always lead with I feel, you know,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
this way because of this,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not laying blame. There's no reason to get defensive. It's not like, hey, you're not doing this. It's just like, maybe it's just as simple as I feel super stressed when I have to put your, I'm trying to think of something, put your dirty dishes in the sink or something. I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
something super simple. Like,
Yeah.
um, but maybe that would make your day easier. Like
Yeah.
maybe he leaves his dishes on the table, and for you, it would mean the world if he literally just took them to the sink.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be monumental, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really important to lead with the I feel phrase. Also, like Brendan and I decided like we talk through these. We don't write them, like we have the list and
Hmm.
then we talk through them and just kind of go back and forth. But we like decided when we first started doing this that we have to validate each other's feelings. Like we tell each other that, like, even if I don't agree that, not even agree, but like, even if I think that maybe how you're feeling about something isn't like you're perceiving the thing properly, or maybe you think I'm kind of silly for feeling that way, like you have to validate that I feel that way about it. And, you can't
Yeah.
discount my feeling sad or annoyed about this thing.
Yeah, I think that is really, really important because sometimes we feel stupid.
Yeah.
You're like, I feel really frustrated about this, and I know it's really stupid, but
Yeah.
it doesn't change the fact that this is how I feel.
Right. Right.
Um, and I think it's important to um be positive as well. So like not
Yeah.
just what would be better, because something that we put in here was, what am I doing that you love?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's important. If you're doing something that they really like, well, you want to do it more often, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it can
Yeah.
be, I'm telling you guys, like does not have to be complex. Like, um,
No.
it can be as simple as, I love, when you ask me how work was, or
Mm-hmm.
I love when you give me 5 minutes of silence after we check in after work so I can just decompress. Like it can be,
Yeah.
I'm literally just making stuff up here, but um, I'm trying to come up with scenarios.
Yeah. I love this is something that's awesome. Is like which this is kind of like this is part of the questions and then also it's not a date, but again, it's one of those like little things that mean a lot.
Yeah.
It's like almost every Saturday morning since Seth was like a newborn, Brendan just gets up with him early because for some reason Seth tends to get up earlier on Saturday morning,
Hmm.
and he lets me sleep in or have time upstairs or whatever by myself, and he takes Seth downstairs and like plays with him and like hangs out with him until I come down. And that is huge for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is so, I feel so like loved and appreciated by that. And like that's definitely something that I'm always like, I love when you do that, because like I'm the one who's home when Seth gets up every day because Brendan's already at work. So it's really nice to like for Brendan to be the one to get him up and hang out with him first thing in the morning.
Oh, I love that. And it leads right into the next one of when was the last time you felt appreciated? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that just sometimes just goes back to thanking them. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, for example, Seb and I will switch off on dishes, like just depending on who cooked, who does dishes, who is like busier with school or whatever
Mm-hmm.
going on. And Seb had a really big project that he had due, and so he was just busy all week, so I was doing all the things, which I didn't care at all. But when he was done, he was like, I really appreciate you doing the dishes and making all the meals and doing all of this. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of it, but it like meant a lot that he noticed that
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh well, you should do the dishes, blah 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 blah. And so
Yeah.
I think just having, them, say, when was the last time you felt appreciated? I think it's important as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
like
I
it.
totally agree. I think it's important, yeah, for both, because then they're like, oh, okay, I need to do more of that thing, right? Because I want my spouse to be happy. And
Yeah.
then you're like taking the time to thank them for doing whatever it was, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
And
Yeah.
it's not even like diving in deep into communication. It's just, I don't know, feeling seen, loved, and
Mm-hmm.
heard are just, I feel like, at the core of everything that's going to be successful there.
Yeah. And that does lead into the next one too, is what could I do better? So that's a time to think about maybe times when, you could have done better and you weren't showing them appreciation or love in the right way, or I don't know, you lost your temper with them, or I mean, there's a whole number of things, right? Marriage is
Yeah.
it's work a lot of times. So
It's so true. And this one's hard. It's
yeah.
hard to step into it. It's hard to hear the answers without hurt feelings. And for some people, I'll say this for my husband, oh my gosh, it's so hard to get him to say something because he's like, well, like everything's fine. And I I think truly that he believes that, but I also know that he can dig a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and he doesn't want to hurt my feelings or anything, but when he does come up with something, it's always really good. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I could do that better. Um,
Yeah.
so even though it's a little bit of a gut check, I think it's important to do. I don't know. I just like your relationship is so important. I cannot say that enough
The
because,
most important. Yeah.
and I, I just think it's to check in and make sure that that love is still there and that relationship is still growing because yes, you know that they love you,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to see it, hear it, feel it, all the things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a little bit spicy, but
Yeah.
like because we're Catholic, to us, like marriage is forever, right? Like
Yeah.
there isn't an out. There's not like, well, things don't work out or we get really annoyed with each other, like we're just separate. So no, for real though, like
It's true.
like
Yeah.
for us, that's not an option, right? And so you don't want to become stagnant and just that's like, oh well, I guess we're just stuck together, right? So like to
Yeah.
me, this exercise is so important for that very reason too, is like, don't you want your marriage to stay strong and stay connected and like you still are loving each other 30 years down the road and feeling that same like excitement to be around each other and actually enjoying each other's company? Because we
Hmm.
don't, for us, it's not like, well, I mean, if things get really bad, I guess we'll just leave, like,
Yeah, it's so true. It's so, so, so true. And I think, in some ways, well, not in some ways, like there's so much comfort in that as well,
oh
because you're
yeah.
like, oh, like, that they're there for you for life. But again, it's so easy to take that for granted, you know,
Yeah.
and to stop putting effort in because you know they're going to be there. You know, you can
Yeah.
rely on them.
Right.
Um, yeah, which does bring us to our spicy topic, you guys. I will say this to my dying day, but I think it's important to check in with your sex life
Yeah.
because you're married. If you're married, I don't know if you're married in listening to this, but um, it's important to talk about. I'm just going to say it. And I
Yeah.
feel like amongst a lot of Catholics, um, it's so, I feel like
Like
people feel,
taboo.
yeah,
Don't talk about it.
and they feel so awkward about it
Yeah.
themselves that they feel awkward about it talking to their spouse.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't, obviously, it's your spouse.
Hmm.
But I think it's really, really important that you are both okay with it and happy with it
Yeah.
and feeling loved, like you
Hmm.
personally feeling loved. I think that that's important.
Right.
Um,
Because yeah, it's not, of course, it's a very physical thing, but it's
yeah,
emotional too, especially for us women. Like it's more
yeah,
so emotional. So you need to be communicating your needs. You need to be communicating,
yeah,
like, if you are feeling awkward about something, communicate that you're awkward about this thing so that it's
yeah.
in the open and you could talk about it and move through it and that it's not awkward anymore. Because guess what? Sex should be fun, guys. It shouldn't
Whoa,
be. We
newsflash.
said we were getting spicy, but yes, it's like it should be like a fun part of your marriage. It shouldn't be like, oh, this is like so awkward. This is the thing I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, and we are gonna, you know, bring somebody else on, and this is a topic for another podcast. I think that, you know, sex can have its own podcast, but
Totally.
um episode, probably not its own. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
it can. I don't know. But it's just I like it's so it's it's such a taboo thing. You know, as Catholics, you wait until marriage. You
Hmm.
know, waiting until marriage to have sex. And so it's constantly like, no, 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 no. And I feel like a lot of people are even like bad, 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 bad. And
Hmm.
then you get married, and all of a sudden, oh, it's this beautiful, glorious, wonderful thing. But in your mind, it has been bad, 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 bad. And
Hmm.
so that is a huge, like, ginormous boulder of a mental thing that you have to get over,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And like Catherine said, sex should be fun. I mean, it should. I
Yeah.
mean, like, let's be real. But at the same time, I hear from so many women where it's just like, guys, 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 like my husband, like,
Yeah.
and I think that there's something wrong with that picture if
Yeah.
that's how you're viewing it and that's how you view your relationship with your husband.
Yeah. I agree. Totally. I mean, like you said, that this can definitely, it will be, we're going to bring a guest on and we are going to have like a whole podcast episode on this, but it should be both of you enjoying sex
Hmm.
and both of you having fun because again, it's because we're Catholic and because we wait until we're married
Hmm.
and it's kind of, yeah, like for some people it's like, nope, it's bad. So then in your head it's like, oh well, this is like something, yeah, now that's like a weird barrier that you have to get over because now all of a sudden you're married and it's okay and it's encouraged and it's great, but you've been told for so long or you believed for so long that like, nope, it's a bad thing, that
Hmm.
then you get married and like it's like super awkward.
Yeah,
And
and
it
you
is going to
feel,
be awkward at first, of course,
yeah,
because again, like you haven't had
absolutely.
sex before. So yes, it's going to be awkward and there's like a learning curve, but
Yeah, and that's okay. But
yeah.
I think it's important to talk about it. You know, like you may feel so weird about something. Sorry, I have like water burps or something. Um, you may feel so weird about it, but if you just like, even if you like want to, I don't know, cover your eyes so you can't see your husband's reaction or whatever, if you
Yeah.
just get it out in the open and you just say it, whatever you're feeling weird about, I am telling you guys, like, I bet you my bottom dollar you'll laugh about it. And
Yes. Or write it down. If you can't
yeah,
get the words out, like write it down in a note. Be like, please read this. I can't say it because it's too awkward, but you need to know this.
yes. And I can promise you that that will bring you guys closer.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
don't
then
know
I
how it wouldn't.
promise, no. And I promise that you will laugh about it later on.
Yes, that's very true. Um, but yeah, anyway, that's my 2 cents about that. We'll make a whole podcast episode about it, but I just think
Yep.
it's important. Um,
Yep. Talk about your sex life together for sure.
yeah. And the last thing for asking questions to go over is I like to ask Seb what his ideal date is
I
because
love that.
it can change depending
Yeah.
on like what kind of mood he's in, or if he's like really wanting vacation, he like wants the beach vibes, or
Yeah.
like, or if it's summer, maybe he wants to go on a hike. And I don't know. It's fun to know, and then maybe someday down the road you can plan out the ideal date.
Yeah. I'm going to add that like for sure to our questions because that's one that we haven't done before. And I love that idea. That seems so simple, like ask them what their ideal date is. But like you said, it
Yeah.
can change.
Yeah.
Like obviously. So
Yeah.
I love that. We're going to have to add that for sure.
That's
a
fun
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, both of us agree that you need to check in together at least probably once a month. It can be every couple months, but you need to be checking in regularly with each other.
Yeah. And it can be a date night thing.
Yeah. Make it fun.
Yeah.
Another fun date night thing that we like to do is like to give each other a massage. And like on our honeymoon, we got couples massages together and it was so nice. So since then, that was kind of like, that was so fun and it's so relaxing and like good bonding time. And that we were like, we should like, I think Brendan started it actually. He was like, we should do that like as like a date night thing. Like, and that's awesome. It's so fun. Like we even had like this leftover cocoa shea butter massage oil stuff that was from our couples massage on our honeymoon. They gave us like the leftover stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we like ran out of that recently, sadly, but
yeah,
that like having like making it a fun experience. And like again, depending on love language of your spouse, like it could be physical touch, so that could be like a huge thing for them. But like I don't, physical touch isn't one of mine, but getting a massage is like probably one of my love languages.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. That like, oh, it's so good. I love it so much. And like, because it's such a good like relaxer, de-stressor, and it's nice.
I could not agree more. I think massage needs to be added to the 5 love languages. I feel like slightly bad about that one though, because I love it, but with Seb, is finishing up his doctorate in physical therapy. His massages are like next level. Yeah, and so I'm always like, can I have a massage, please? And then I try to reciprocate and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I try, but
hey, it's the thought that counts, is the trying that counts. I'm sure he still appreciates it.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm not very good at it. One thing that we like to do if we can sometimes is like have a date morning. Like I just love having like breakfast together, and I have an obsession with those like cute little milk pictures. Like they're really, really cute.
Oh yeah.
People can't see my hands. They're like literally 2 inches tall. On our
like
honeymoon.
you get you get at like a coffee shop or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On our honeymoon, we went to a resort in a Sandals resort, and they would bring you coffee, which, oh my gosh, Jamaican coffee is next level coffee. But they would give you these cute little milk pitchers, and I'm sorry, they're so cute. I can't get over them. And so one of my favorite things, as time consuming as this is, and probably it goes on my like next level extraness, is we'll have a date morning where we'll make like, a nice breakfast, and we'll get coffee, and we will put the half and half in a little milk pitcher.
I love that.
Just so cute.
That is so cute. I love that. You're like, it's a little thing, literally a little thing that makes it more special.
I just love it. It's so cute. Anyways, yeah.
I love that. That is cute. That is true. I I like love brunch, like going to brunch. That's such a like basic thing, like
Yeah.
basic whatever. But I love going to brunch. I love breakfast food. I could eat breakfast food all day long.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, like breakfast dates are so fun, and that is fun to do like at home even, like pancakes and sausage and good coffee, and just take your time and make it like luxurious. Like that's kind of a Saturday or Sunday thing for us, is like have
Yeah.
a luxurious breakfast where it's like not rushed. You're just kind of enjoying yourselves with like conversation. I love that.
Yeah, and even if you have kids, they can either be part of the experience or,
Yeah.
they can be doing chores. I'm just kidding. I'm literally just kidding.
Put the kids to work while you eat.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, what else did we have on here?
Another thing that I like, okay, so you want to have, like, everyone tells you, I guess, when you're like dating, like you should have common interests, right? Like it's like pretty universal. You're told that. And that's something you usually look for in someone you're dating, is common interests. But something that I have found is like, it's actually really like important to get interested in each other's hobbies, especially when you're not that into it. So like, for example, I love hiking, walking, like long walks, whatever. And Brendan is really not that into it. But, for him, like that means so much more than to me when he does do that with me, because I know he doesn't really enjoy it that much. But he will do it with me. And you can even compromise in this. So like he really got into disc golf this last summer. And I was like, oh, I don't like Frisbee. I probably will hate it, whatever. But Brendan was like, this could be like a meeting of the minds for us. Like, I love disc golf. You love long walks. Well, there's this course that has like this huge path around it. So he's like, we can play, or I can play, and you can just walk with me, and we can walk together and spend a leisurely day together. And that's actually like, if you have the discs, they're usually free, those parks. So that became like a super fun thing we did this past summer that we both got to enjoy. Like I played with him sometimes and sometimes I didn't, but like we were still spending time together. It was like a long, nice walk, and it was like in this pretty area with trees and everything. And we were both happy doing it, but it means more even to you, I feel like, when it's something that they're really not that into, but they're doing it for you.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
And it's just important to put that effort into learning what they're excited about, so you can at least have an educated conversation about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. Which goes right into the next one, because you don't really need to know anything to do this one. But at home game nights, you guys, they are so underrated. Like, okay, I have an obsession with the board game Catan.
I love that game.
Oh my goodness. Did you know you can, okay, this is maybe not a board game, but you can get it on your computer and you can play each other and have like a computer third person, because you have to have 3 people. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I did
We
not know that.
play that so often. It's so fun.
That is fun. I love that.
Except for when that little computer guy like screws you both over. Like, I'm telling you, they're out to get you. But that's really fun. Or even card games. It's a little bit harder if you just want to do 2 people, because you're doing date night. But you guys can play double solitaire. It's a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Also, like, there are like games on your phone that you can actually play together even. So if you don't have a lot of board games, or like you don't know a lot of card games that are fun, that are just 2 people, like we play Scrabble on our phones. There's like a Scrabble app. And we'll like play each other in Scrabble on our phone, and that's fun even. Or like iPhone, this is like so extra being an iPhone, but they have like an extension thing you can get in your keypad on an iPhone that's a bunch of different like mini games.
Oh, I
and
didn't know
you like
this.
Yeah, I can send it to you, but like you can like play ping pong, and you can play darts, and you can play like beer pong, and like word games and different stuff like that, which is those are really fun too.
Oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then the last one that we have on here, which I'm sure there's many more, is to work out together. And honestly, if we were able to work out together right now, That would be a date.
Yeah.
Because we used to work out together all the time before Landon
Mhm.
was here, but we used to go to the gym, and
Mhm.
now that doesn't really work. We can't,
Yeah.
both go to the gym together.
Mhm.
So, yeah, work out together.
Yep. I know. That's kind of the same boat here. We used to work out together a lot, but now that we have a kiddo, it's a little bit harder. But
Hmm.
even still, like, we'll do at-home workouts together sometimes in the
Yeah.
evenings. It hasn't happened in a while, but I always love when we do that, or like on a Saturday workout together. And you might not even necessarily be doing the same workout,
Hmm.
but just like being together, like we'll put our music on our Bluetooth mini speaker. And
Hmm.
so that like we're still able to like kind of talk maybe, or like we're still listening to the same thing. And we'll like, yeah, spend time working out together. And that's super fun.
I love that. I love that. All these ideas. So we would absolutely love for you guys to either find us on Instagram or email us and let us know what your favorite low cost date ideas are and which one of these resonated with you that you're going to try out because I'm nosy and I want to know. Anyways, we'll catch you later. Thank you for listening to the Just Between Us Women podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Just Between Us Women podcast, and we absolutely would love to hear from you.
If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend and be sure to share it to your Instagram story and tag us so we can see.
You can expect episodes every Tuesday.